This 39 Dunedin News Bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Tonight on 39 Dunedin News, union members rallied to support a Dunedin Railways worker they say is being unfairly treated. Community board members face up to a hearing that could result in the end of their representation. And local women unite to discuss the challenges they face both here and around the world. Good evening, Dunedin. I'm Rebecca Dupree. Local rail union members have gathered in protest over what they say is ongoing persecution of a Dunedin Railways employee. They picketed at the Dunedin railway station this morning, standing up to the company over its treatment of a staff member's health and safety concern. And they say any disciplinary action against the woman could set a bad precedent for workers nationwide.
Making their voices heard, members of the Rail and Maritime Transport Union have mounted a picket in protest of the treatment of a Dunedin Railways worker. They say she's been treated unfairly for highlighting what she perceived was a valid health and safety issue.
One of our members has been subject to a campaign of persecution and intimidation for raising a legitimate health and safety concern. Dunedin Railways runs passenger excursions up the Tarry Gorge and along the main line, and we would have thought that health and safety would be an absolute priority for them, but apparently not.
The staff member's concern relates to the alleged failure of the company to record radio traffic in relation to a perceived track occupancy issue. Union members have met with Dunedin Railways management twice already to work through the matter and minimise disciplinary action threatened against the woman. But Kerr says the company's yet to budge on the issue.
We're at a loss to understand why management are persecuting our member. We've had an excellent relationship with Dunedin Railways to date. We think it's a great little railway and it does a great job for the city of Dunedin, but it really needs to start treating its staff a little bit better when they raise legitimate health and safety concerns.
A charge of misconduct against the woman has been dropped, but she's still facing disciplinary action over an alleged breach of good faith. Kerr says if she's punished, it could lead to other workers being too scared to voice concerns.
When people are gagged for raising a legitimate health and safety concern, that makes the workplace a much more dangerous place. One of the things that we saw at Pike River was that when workers didn't feel they could raise concerns around health and safety, then the consequences can be disastrous. Dunedin
Railways Chief Executive Murray Bond told 39 Dunedin News that the issue is about employment rather than health and safety, and he's confident it'll soon be resolved. Management staff are scheduled to meet again with union members tomorrow morning. Ruby McAndrew, 39 Dunedin News.
A woman is dead and a man is critically injured following an incident at Seacliff this morning. Police have cordoned off part of the small settlement about 30 kilometres north of Dunedin. Officers are examining several scenes, including a house in which a 53-year-old woman was found dead. A 59-year-old man remains in a critical condition at Dunedin Hospital, where he was admitted this morning. Police have located a firearm thought to be involved. Emergency services were called to Seacliff just after 8 a.m. There are unconfirmed reports of a dispute taking place. Police say there's no threat to the public. Community board members are fighting to keep their roles intact by voicing concerns about representation changes. They've been participating in a hearing from which a decision will be made about whether a new system is implemented, and that will affect this year's local body elections.
Putting his case to the Commission, this community board chairman is one of 14 appellants at a hearing for proposed amendments to the local government structure. They're hoping the governing commission will reject a plan endorsed by the City Council involving a raft of changes.
My view is that they don't truly represent the citizens' wishes, particularly those areas that are currently supported by community boards.
The changes include councillors being elected at large rather than by wards. The Mosgiel Taieri Community Board would also be scrapped, along with several positions throughout the city. Current Taieri members say their board represents the area well and is a voice on behalf of its growing population.
The board is very active on the community's behalf in respect to fulfilling its role, which is primarily lobbying So we, to some extent, are visionaries. We look at our community.
The board represents 30,000 people who will be without a specific advocacy group if changes go ahead. Mosgiel will instead be included in the wider metropolitan area, while the rest of the Tairi will come under a wider rural group. Feather says that'll mean some issues won't be properly addressed.
Same levels of service, the same focus on these issues that are currently accorded would perhaps worsen if the area was, enlarged.
The Local Government Commission is aiming to make its decision ahead of this year's elections in October. Annabelle Dick, 39, Dunedin News.
Police believe they've identified suspects in the overnight arson of several cars at a motel parking lot. 3 vehicles were destroyed by fire in the car park of the Mercure Leisure Lodge in Duke Street early Friday morning. Yesterday, police arrested 3 teenagers in relation to the damage of several cars near Forsyth Bar Stadium. Officers believe the young men may be connected to the fire. They're continuing to investigate the case, as well as several others involving arson and theft. 2 of the suspects were taken into police custody and 1 was bailed. They're aged 14, 15 and 17. A group of local ladies representing a range of cultures have been celebrating International Women's Day. They've staged a picnic to discuss the current status of women around the world and the challenges they face. It's part of a global campaign to get women working together to advance gender parity.
Supporting an important day for a global cause. These Dunedin ladies have been celebrating International Women's Day with an impromptu picnic at the Museum Reserve. It was an opportunity to discuss the issues that women are currently facing around the world.
Even though we here in Dunedin have some sense of privilege in our secular society, a lot of women throughout the world are denied that equity and they lack an ability to express it by themselves. So collectively, as a global movement, it's really important that women lend their voice to one another.
Crampton Smith is pleased with the small group that turned out for today's spontaneous celebration. She's been handing out gifts to mark the occasion while spreading the Women's Day message to all those passing by.
It's an informal gathering of interest, if you like, for women who are interested in supporting other women. And it's also a way of advocating that International Women's Day is a process where we come in peace with each other. So we're giving fruit, apples and plums the season of this year obviously, so it's an important way of making that gesture.
Those gathered for the lunchtime picnic represent several ethnicities and cultures. Crampton Smith says it's important that the views of different women are heard on this day of awareness.
It is about women of all nations throughout the world developing equity, be that with equity within law or equity within income. It's really important that we see it as a multicultural context for women populate the whole globe.
International Women's Day is being celebrated globally with this year's emphasis on accelerating gender parity. It's a goal these ladies are more than happy to throw their support behind. Ruby McAndrew, 39, Dunedin News.
Still to come on 39 Dunedin News, our Creative City of Literature status is about to be promoted in Europe, and we'll take a look at the local link to a vaccine that could save many lives.
Sir Bob Charles, New Zealand's greatest golfer and still going strong.
I'm sure that Sportsville was a contributing factor to my success and I'll continue to use it.
Sir Bob Charles Sportsville, a product so good he puts his name to it.
Well, I believe Sportsville helps maintain your quality of life.
Now being used by active men and women globally to support strength and mobility.
It works for me.
Sir Bob Charles Sportsville in the new all-black pack. Call now for the Sportsville special, 0800 502 402.
New Zealand Beeswax Limited are the quintessential beeswax, woodware and beekeeping suppliers. From the amateur beekeeper to the commercial operator, New Zealand Beeswax Limited has the quantity to meet your needs. For great prices, great service New Zealand-wide, contact New Zealand Beeswax Limited on 03 693 9189 or visit www.beeswax.co.nz.
Pallet fires are growing in popularity in Otago, with people who want a clean and efficient form of home heating. The sight of a burning flame without the problems of chopping, stacking and carting wood around is a winner. Pallet fires, so easy, so efficient.
Bring some more joy into your world by adopting one of our adult animals at SPCA Otago. Call now on 473 8252. Please adopt a pet now, they will love you forever.
Christie Glass Houses and Sheds, good to grow stuff in. The first choice for gardeners for over 100 years. Built to withstand extreme weather conditions and hard work. Full range of options available. Thomas Burns Street across the road from the railway station. Free call 0800 Allens. Ecrotech Limited have been supplying beekeeping equipment and honey products in New Zealand for over 100 years. A specialist manufacturer of hiveware and plastic products for the beekeeping industry. They are the leading supplier of beekeeping equipment nationwide. For all your beekeeping needs, visit ecrotech.co.nz or call 0800 117766.
Pregnant? Need to talk? 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Pregnancy counselling services are here to help. It's free, it's confidential. Call us now on 0800 773 462.
Tune in on Thursday for Motorsport Night on Dunedin Television.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
Welcome back. Fonterra has again slashed its forecast milk payout to farmers. The company is expecting to pay $3.90 per kilogram of milk solids for the current season. That's 25 cents less than the previous price. The Fonterra Shareholders Council says it's a bitter pill for dairy farmers to swallow. It's compounding the January price reduction of 45 cents as global dairy markets struggle. Fonterra is anticipating its New Zealand milk production to be at least 4% lower than last season. And on that note, let's take a look at today's markets. The NZX 50 has closed the day up 28 points, now at 6,447. The Nikkei is down 244 points. To the exchange rates, the Kiwi dollar is up slightly against the Australian, but we are down against the other currencies we follow. Several projects are gaining traction in association with Dunedin's status as a UNESCO Creative City of Literature. They're being coordinated by the Dunedin City Council, and Group Manager of Arts and Culture, Bernie Hawke, joins us to talk about it. Good evening.
Hi, Rebecca.
Tell us about Dunedin writer David Howard and his residency in Croatia.
This is a very exciting project because David is one of a small handful of authors around the world who've had the privilege of receiving a residency in Prague, which is a UNESCO City of Literature like Dunedin. And so David is spending 2 months in Prague. He's renewing some old collaborations with a composer he'd worked with previously, Marta Jarakovic, and he's also speaking at the Croatian Poetry Festival.
How will he be profiling Dunedin while he's over there?
I think just by being there, it will be quite a new thing to have a New Zealand and a Dunedin author, and David will be spreading the good word about the strength of New Zealand literature in Europe during his residency.
Sorry, are you expecting other spin-off benefits?
Well, it's just the start of, I think, many collaborations between Dunedin and the other, now 20 cities of literature around the world.
Now, something's just happened with Lord Provost of Edinburgh.
We've just been very fortunate to have a visit from the Lord Provost while he was in New Zealand as part of the Edinburgh Tattoo. He took time out of his busy schedule to visit Dunedin and was hosted by our Mayor, Dave Cull, shown the Toi to Otago Settlers Museum, and they discussed the things that Dunedin and Edinburgh have in common through their being sister cities and being both cities of literature.
And he gifted a poem to us.
He did.
What's special about it?
It's special because it was specially written for Dunedin for this purpose. It'll be framed and available in the council's customer service centre, so the whole community can read it in that very busy place. And it just is a symbol, in effect, of renewing the strength and the links between Dunedin and Edinburgh.
And local authors are working on a project called Manifesto.
They are indeed.
Do tell.
Yeah, Philip Temple and Emma Neal are the coordinating editors of an anthology of political poetry that will be published by Otago University Press in 2017. So that's quite an exciting project, pulling together and again strengthening the depth of New Zealand poetry and literature.
Whereabouts will it be published?
It'll be published by Otago University Press, and so it will be pulled together here in Dunedin, and will be available throughout the country, in fact throughout the world.
Now, how else is Dunedin City of Literature status growing?
Well, we're about to take a big step. We've advertised for a director of the City of Literature program, and applications close on this coming Friday. And we're looking forward to looking at a strong group of applicants and finding someone who can lead and coordinate all of our City of Literature programs, both here locally and represent Dunedin at a national and even international level.
What are the Council's goals for developing our reputation?
Well, there are many really. The part of the goal of the City of Literature is to highlight Dunedin in terms of cultural tourism. It has a goal to promote Dunedin, Otago, New Zealand writing throughout the world, and David's residency is already doing that. And once the director is in place, we'll be developing a strategic plan to guide that development.
That sounds very exciting. Dunedin City Council Group Manager of Arts and Culture, Bernie Hawke, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Rebecca.
After the break on 39 Dunedin News, local research is contributing to lower rates of disease in part of Africa, and a select group of residents are honoured with a civic reception. We'll find out why.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
Ecro Tech Limited have been supplying beekeeping equipment and honey products in New Zealand for over 100 years. A specialist manufacturer of hiveware and plastic products for the beekeeping industry. They are the leading supplier of beekeeping equipment nationwide. For all your beekeeping needs, visit ecrotech.co.nz or call 0800 117766.
Mosgiel Mowers Plus can help you with products to make your garden maintenance jobs easier. Lawn mowers, ride-ons, chainsaws, line trimmers. Sales and service are our specialty. Mosgiel Mowers Plus. Phone 489 3572 22B Gordon Road, Mosgiel.
For professional, reliable and approachable service where your dream kitchen design can become an affordable reality, contact the team at Kitchens for Less. Call 455 9973 or visit us online.
The team at Caltex North care more about you than just putting fuel in your tank. They care about you and your family. At the Caltex Valley Workshop, the skilled service team care about your safety, extending the life of your car and helping you live more economically. There's a range of modern equipment to give comprehensive warrant of fitness checks and servicing to your vehicle. Come visit your only local in North East Valley and receive 10% off when you book your warrant and service together. That's your friendly Caltex Valley Workshop, 134 North Road, or book online at caltexvalley.co.nz.
Granddad loved his family and surfing, in that order. He taught me to surf, and we spent a lot of time in the water together over the years. When he died, I strapped the camera to the nose of his old board and filmed the paddle out at St. Clair. Gillian's played the video on the big screen at his funeral. Granddad would have loved having everyone come out one last surf with him.
Gillian's Funeral Services, helping families celebrate the lives of their loved ones for generations. gillians.co.nz.
New Zealand Beeswax Limited are the quintessential beeswax, woodware and beekeeping suppliers. From the amateur beekeeper to the commercial operator, New Zealand Beeswax Limited has the quantity to meet your needs. For great prices, great service New Zealand-wide, contact New Zealand Beeswax Limited on 03 693 9189 or visit www.beeswax.co.nz.
Tune in on Thursday for Motorsport Night on Dunedin Television.
Here's something else to look forward to sinking your teeth into every weekend with the Otago Daily Times, The Weekend Mix, your guide to what's hot in fashion, entertainment, food and more. New weekend magazine in your ODT. Pick up your copy this Saturday.
Welcome back. A local man's cycling journey from one end of the country is finishing. Paul Gourley of the Dunedin Multi-Ethnic Council started from Bluff last month. He's been touring with a Japanese companion and together they're raising awareness about road safety. The duo were scheduled to arrive at Cape Reinga today and they're expected back in Dunedin next week. Their mission has been to traverse about 2,300 kilometres over 40 days. Gourley is planning to deliver information to the government about road etiquette and make a multilingual guide to travelling in New Zealand. Local research into a vaccine is highlighting its dramatic effect in decreasing rates of disease in West Africa. A University of Otago professor was part of a team monitoring the vaccine's use to combat sickness in young children, and their discoveries could save many lives.
Charting a drop in disease. University of Otago professor Philip Hill is looking through the results of a study he helped complete into the effects of a much-needed vaccine within a developing country.
So this was a 7-year surveillance program, which is still going, so it's into its 8th year now, and it's specifically set up to monitor whether this conjugate vaccine family actually reduce the disease that they're intended to reduce.
15,000 patients in the West African country, the Gambia, were monitored by the researchers. They monitored children over a 7-year period, starting 2 years before the vaccine program was rolled out. Hill says they started noticing results as soon as the children were vaccinated, and the rates have been dropping ever since.
This vaccine has reduced the disease, the pneumococcal disease, which causes pneumonia, meningitis and septicemia. It's reduced that disease by over a half in the youngest children who had the most impact of vaccine.
Pneumococcal is a bacterial disease and the leading cause of pneumonia worldwide. The study is ongoing, but researchers say their work could help encourage various governments to fund the vaccine.
So this offers really reassuring evidence for those countries yet to make a decision, and those already investing with their donors and their own government money to introduce these vaccines, to actually go ahead and continue to use them, or to introduce them if they haven't been introduced already.
The ongoing research is being funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, who has contributed more than $10 million to the project. Annabelle Dick, 39, Dunedin News.
A civic reception has been held for a select few residents who've recently been honoured at a national level. They were congratulated for their contributions to the community in a range of fields, and they're paving the way for future generations.
Thanking the community's lesser-known leaders, Mayor Dave Cull hosted an afternoon tea for the recent local recipients of Queen's Birthday and New Year honours. He says they make him pleased to call Dunedin home.
I'm proud that people in our community have been recognised, and I'm proud that our community has people who beaver away, sometimes for years, doing things for the rest of the community in a voluntary way. It's nothing to do with their obligations to their own family, nothing to do with their employment. It's just that they do it because it's a contribution, and I'm really proud that that's recognised.
Among the 9 title holders was Leslie Elliott, who received a Queen's Birthday honour for her services to the prevention of domestic violence. Mayor Cull says she and other award winners are leading by example for the city's youth.
And of course, younger people will find new ways to express that contribution to the community, and they do. And what I've noticed is that younger people are often much more future focused. They're looking at things like challenges of climate change and that sort of thing, and are really concerned about it. We're doing a tremendous amount of constructive work involved in that.
Otako Runanga leader Edward Allison was also recognised in the last Queen's Birthday honours for his contribution to Māori and conservation. Others were saluted for aiding science, education, sports and archaeology, as well as the community in general.
We've got organisations like Generation Zero or Food Share, which are models for the rest of the country. So when we do things, it doesn't matter whether it's sporting or business or voluntary effort, we do it really well.
Each year, a handful of Kiwis are publicly bestowed honours by the government. This function was a celebration highlighting the local authorities' gratitude to some of Dunedin's most upstanding citizens. Rosie Mannins, 39 Dunedin News.
And now recapping tonight's top stories on 39 Dunedin News. Rail and Maritime Union members are protesting against the treatment of a Dunedin Railways employee over her health and safety concerns. Community board members are fighting to keep their roles, voicing criticism about proposed changes at a local government commission hearing. And a group of local ladies have been discussing gender equality while sharing a lunchtime picnic for International Women's Day. Well, it's time now to find out what's going to be in tomorrow's Otago Daily Times, and Dave Cannon joins us. Good evening.
Rebecca, how are you?
Good, thanks.
Well, we've got a pretty busy news day today. We had this unfortunate Seacliff shooting this morning on the peninsula, so we've got full coverage of that tomorrow with photographs, and we're still trying to get some more details about what actually happened there. The dairy farmer, the payout today, the Fonterra, another drop in prices, so we've talked to some dairy farmers about what that means. We've got a story on a fundraising for the balcony, one of the balcony victims who's injured last Friday night. We've got coverage of that community board hearing, which you guys have covered as well. And the Wash is having a look at the history of Dunedin's restaurants and eating houses. Oh. A subject near and dear to my stomach. So we're seeing what we can find out.
Wonderful, that'll make great reading. Thank you, Dave. That's tomorrow's ODT. Time now for local weather.
This weather report proudly brought to you in association with Silverhorns Sportsville.
Here is today's City View is taken looking towards Merton. A beautiful day. Around the city at 3 o'clock, not quite so beautiful in the city with a bit of wind and 15 degrees, 18 degrees though for both the Gardens and the Tyree. To the situation, and an active cold front will move over the country tomorrow and Thursday. An anticyclone will then move across the Tasman and onto New Zealand later in the week, and it's here for the weekend. Well, to the forecast for the main towns in the lower South Island for tomorrow. Fine weather with westerlies for Invercargill and Gore. Nor'westers for Tiana with cloud increasing there, and a fine one with nor'westers for Alexandra and a high of 21. Nor'westers, but otherwise fine for Queenstown, Wanaka and Twizel. Nor'easters in Oamaru, but a fine day awaits with 18. And Dunedin tonight becoming fine with a low of 9. Tomorrow sunny periods with nor'easters. Gusty nor'westers will develop late in the day. They will become quite strong to gale force at night, going for 18 degrees. And on Thursday, southerly gales in the morning with a period of rain, but things will clear up later in the day. The cold winds will ease, 15 degrees. To the Otago Pallet Fires tidal and fishing information. Low tide tomorrow morning is at 11:30, high tide follows at 5 p.m. And fishing conditions are still not looking ideal. And that is local news for Tuesday. We will join you again tomorrow. Good night.
This 39 Dunedin News Bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.